Hey guys, how are you? Welcome. Today, pretty much, I want to go over how esoteric symbols are rubbed in your face all the fucking time. Like everything you buy, the oil companies, most company logos are actually pre-existing, powerfully charged, ancient, pagan. Pagan. I don't really like that term. I would say Celtic and Gnostic. Pagan is like like kind of like a name they were given for people who had many gods, which makes no sense. It's like a putting down kind of like putting them down kind of name. And Masonic symbols. All right, so pretty much you see the pentagram right here. The pentagram is actually good. Is the upside down one, is the opposite polarity. When you put the pentagram upside down, then it becomes the devil head or whatever. All right, here you got the pentagram, some more pentagram. Macy's, Converse, Starbucks. Look, Starbucks. The astrolight, the feminine in the middle of the dish of the circle, black hole in the middle. She's pointing to the North Star crown on her head. She's pointing the way. She's like, this is where you find the North Star is right above the feminine goddess. So for you to find your way home, wish upon a star. You follow that star all the way home. It leads you to the Aurora Borealis. Oh, look, we got Disney. Disney is not innocent, I promise you. It may look innocent. It's like the story with the witch and all the candy. Fattening all the kids up so they could be eaten. Look, so you see Google Chrome right here. 666. Disney. Walt. Look at this shit. What else? You see the ring of Saturn, Kronos, God of Time, Boeing, Internet Explorer, the Nike logo, Toyota. It's everywhere. You wear it all the time. Like, you could think you're atheist all day, but it doesn't matter. The people who rule your life have their own God. So right here's Egyptian winged sun disk. You see Harley Davidson, Chrysler, Bentley, Southwest Airlines. They all have like these similar logos. Out of all the shapes in the world, they pick the same ones. There's something fishy about that. You gotta ask yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself. We have Sacred Geometry, the Vesica Pisces, MasterCard, DC, and Magic and Oil, company logos. Also, Earth Religions Pentagram, and Macy's, Walmart, Texaco. It's just rubbed in your face all the time. These people have their gods. They have their own astrologies. They have their own everything that you don't have. They have things that you don't believe. They believe, but they give you the watered down shit, so you can never figure out for yourself what are they doing. Okay, so there is somebody named Michael Tsarion, and he is so good at explaining this. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes of watching it, and I'll put the link below so you can watch it for yourself. It's it's really long, but I'm only gonna give a short clip. Okay.
This talk is about how we are going to get symbol literacy so we can graduate and evolve spiritually. Because, as Nietzsche clearly pointed out, we have the misfortune or the fortune, who knows which. of being the only creature who must constantly overcome himself in order to live fully. So there is a drag factor. There's individuals who absolutely are bent double, working overtime to make sure that we do not evolve and that our children regress, that civilizations are in retrograde. What would happen if a pharaoh came back today? And some of the techniques that they use in this psychic dictatorship are words, symbols, colors, rhythms, light, movement, mudras, which means hand positions, gestures, which have been used for aeons as means of spiritualization, used by cults, infused with mysticism, are now being used on us for quite an opposite agenda. To drag us down into the pits of our own miasma, our own hells. As Carl Jung said, consciousness is a recent acquisition of nature. It is still in an experimental state, so to speak. It is frail, menaced by specific dangers and easily injured. As anthropologists have noted, one of the most common mental derangements that occur among primitive people is what they call the loss of a soul. Take this comment that he's talking about and transpose it to our societies today. That is exactly what is happening. The loss of soul. How is this technique done? What is going on? How are they doing this to us? You've heard the story of the zombie, right, in Haiti? Well, the zombie was a person just like you or I, and they slipped something into his drink. And that is the resin or the potion or the liquid or whatever you want to call it, the solution from the datura plant. Now, if you drink that, you become kind of zombified, but the next day you can be back to normal. So every day, you see, the witch doctor had to continually administer the datura plant poison, otherwise it wouldn't work. Well, we have the same thing today. Only it's called TV. It's called the media. Every day, the steady diet of predigested mumbo-jumbo.
Yep.
And it really reminded me of this wonderful movie called The Devil Rides Out, in which the satanic characters, and he's busy hypnotizing somebody. He says that your will is leaving you, slipping away, and you are beneath my influence. And though your eyes are open and you seem aware, you are in fact asleep. Your faculties dormant, your ability to act and think subservient to my will. That is the agenda. The consequence on the grassroots level is that we are running around shopping malls, busy spending and buying and being busy with all of that. 6 hours a week. 6 hours a week the average person spends shopping, as opposed to 40 minutes a week with their children. And then we wonder why we got problems. Research has shown that in the first few milliseconds of your perceiving something, we do not only unconsciously comprehend what it is, but we decide whether or not we like it. The cognitive unconscious presents our awareness with not just the identity of what we see, but an opinion about it. Our emotions have a mind of their own, one which can hold views quite independently of your rational mind. And the demographics have changed since even the 50s of how much change there's been by the advent of the media. The word consumer actually comes from consumption, and it didn't mean anything good. It actually meant to pillage, to desecrate, destroy. And if you know, consumption was the term that was used when you had tuberculosis, when you couldn't breathe, when you had no life force. The consumer. Well, before we get to how they're doing it, we got to say who is doing it. So a little recap on the fact of other things that you've heard here is that there is an occult history of America. And these are the individuals who have always used symbolism coming out of the ancient world, as Jordan and others have shown. The man on the left is Adam Weishaupt, who was the head of the Illuminati, whose origin date was May 1st, 1776, quite close to July 4th, 1776, the founding of America. His mantle passed to Giuseppe Manzini, who then, when he passed away, the mantle of the Illuminati passed to the man on the right, who's called Albert Pike. Everyone in this room should be familiar with who this man is and what he is about, because he brought what is called Scottish Rite Freemasonry system to this country. Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And the symbols on the dollar bill are the hallmarks of this order, this secret society that George Washington and other of your founding fathers were warning about. If you go to their memoirs and read it, they were Freemasons. But Freemasonry was a positive, basically philanthropic society at that time, and was infused by these negative elements from Bavaria and from the old world of Europe. And they warned against it. In fact, the Duke of Brunswick, the head of Grand World Freemasonry, had stood up in the 17th century and asked for the disbanding of World Freemasonry completely, because he was aware that it had been infused with negative elements of Illuminist philosophy. And George Washington and others in this country did likewise. Unfortunately, nothing happened. And the Illuminati were able to infiltrate this societies of Freemasons, and they're still operating today. And this has a bearing on what we'll be talking about. Here is a proof, of course, just for anyone who doesn't know, that the founding fathers definitely were involved in Freemasonry. You'll notice that on the Washington bust there, it says Freemason and First President. Now let's read that again. Freemason and First President. Not the other way around. Thank you. Important detail. To go into Masonry, endless story, can't do it, haven't got the time. But the point is, just the word alone, just my innocent fascination with words and terms that these individuals use. M-A-S-O-N. If you actually draw a hexagram on the pyramid, you will find that that actually inscribes. It's been in front of you for many generations, but you don't notice it. Remember Edgar Allan Poe? You want to hide something, you put it in plain view. Jordan Maxwell talked about the scorpion sting, the double scorpionic sting, remember, of the tail? Remember that? Look at the prongs of the banner there and ask yourself something about symbolism. These people have never hidden who they are, so we're not talking like Ken Thomas was saying, forget a conspiracy theory, it's all conspiracy, no theory. Here you have it, at the G8 summit, peak, summit. You have all these fine fellows sitting around at a round table, which is of course coming from the Celtic mythologies of Arthurian legends, with a pyramid in the middle. Here's Mitterrand of France, Bill Clinton of America.
Arthur and the round table represents our flat earth, and the illumination in the middle is where we're supposed to go. So right here they're sitting around the round table from King Arthur and the round table, and that story originated from the flat earth disc, and in the middle that's where the black hole is.
America, Blair, a bunch of other criminals, I'm not aware of who they are. And here's Larry, Moe, and Curly. You think they're all from different parties? Think again, simple dialectics. They're all in the same gang. I'm preaching to the choir here, so we'll not spend too much time on that. But you see, what we have to understand is that the girl next door gets involved too, or what they put before you as the girl next door are people who often have, as Arizona Wilder will only be too happy to tell you, long associations with fraternities and secret orders. Again, the pervasiveness of occultism right in the face of people if they only know where to look. The tarot cards. Nothing negative about tarot cards, nothing negative about the occult. But they're using it. In the cards, in the tarot deck, the major arcana, card number 4 is what we call the Emperor. It shows a king sitting in a marble throne with a stern countenance. Now wait a minute. If you go to Washington, D.C. and look at the Lincoln Memorial, what do you see there? Most statues of presidents are standing, aren't they? Or they're a bust. Isn't there something peculiar about that symbol? Where do you think they got it? It came from the tarot. It has occult origins. The very symbol of the Lincoln Memorial of the great president sitting in the chair with that type of countenance has an origin in the occult. One of the symbols that should be well known, pretty generically known, is the famous handshake of the craft members. And in corporate logos, you'll see this constantly. I can only share with you a very small amount of the work that I've been doing since I was 13, but I'm sure that the point will be made that when you look at these ad copy again or billboards, you'll start to see these associations and understand more what they are. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how that one got in. Anyway, the Masons refer to their own procedures, their own teachings as the craft. If you get into studying the, Jordan Maxwell has labored for years to discover the occult roots of government, big business, and religion. Big business, yes. Even the big businesses, they're not the rags to riches tales that have been put in front of you where individuals make their money on the white market. The white market makes up a very small amount of the money that's in the world. Let's start studying the black market, not as has been put before you, a bunch of drug-dealing gangsters on the side of the streets. That's not the black market I'm talking about. It's the occult underworld, where the main trading and wheeling and dealing of the world is done, where you can get anything for any price. Well, when we look into that, we'll find that there is, again, occult origins, and behind these big businesses, the franchises, the corporations, hopefully we can prove a little bit today that there is an occult origin. You've seen the pyramid, and a pyramid basically has three sides, because the number 3 is very important in Freemasonry. Very important. In fact, if we look at it, we find that the number 3 is sacred, and it is the reason why it has been incorporated into so many areas of religious and secular life. We have the economic world with its first, second, and third worlds. We didn't create that, but yet there's the terms. We have the main political...
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little clip about symbolism. I'm going to put all the links and all the info in the description, so you can check that out. So have a good rest of the day. It's Friday. I'm going to enjoy my weekend. I'll see you guys tomorrow.